looking after these out here is essential. So whether you are out on a long walk, a day walk, a weekend, or a long expedition, looking after your feet out here is super important. They're the one thing that's going to carry you, and that is your transport, and these are the things that are going to look after you. If you look after them, they're going to look after you. So the thing that I do is I always take my own kit, so foot care kit with me. I keep it in my Bergen. No matter what I do on just a training run or a weekend or an expedition or something, I use this all the time. To look after my feet, especially out here, is if you get hot spots. So hot spots is where your foot would rub against your sock or part of your boot, and that starts to get into what's called a hot spot. So stopping that straight away is obviously really helpful. So what you can do is you could put plasters on it, but then they can get bumpy and pull up, and then they can get even more of a hot spot. You can even put fake skin, so something like Compeed, it's a plastic coating that covers over the skin, really thin. You can put that on there. I would suggest putting that on the top of your foot. If it's underneath, it can then rub off again and then become irritating. Or which I started using off when I was in recruit training, was zinc oxide tape. Really good for putting on sort of your lower back where your Bergen rubs, or around your hips or somewhere where it rubs, and really good on your feet as well. But I found eventually that it can clump up, and if you don't put it on straight, it then gets sort of bumpy, and then again will rub and will give you hot spots again. And then also found physio tape, so TQ tape is what physios will put across sort of muscles and tape your knees up and things like that, or your shoulders. This is really good. It's really thin, a really thin tape, really sticky. The more you spend on this stuff, the stickier it's going to be. So I would suggest spending your money on it if you want to look after your feet out here. Especially if you're doing a lot of running or weighted running or something like that. So if you're doing the Avalanche Endurance Events Fan Dance race, for instance, or the Paris 10 or the Commando Shuffle, then you're going to need stuff like this to put on hot spots. And you would just cut off a certain piece. So I often get hot spots on the ball of my foot. So I'll cut off a certain section. So before you go, or when you're out walking or running or something like that, you just cut off a sliver. And I can peel that off and then add that to my foot. And as I say, I can then attach that to the ball of my foot, and you can pull it tight and you can mold it to the shape of your foot, of what you want to, the area you want to place it, and then hence not giving you sort of bumpy bits that are going to catch and then rub and give you another hot spot. So you can put that on there, especially on your heels as well, and that will cover up them hot spots, and that will stop the rubbing, and obviously your boots or your socks will rub on this tape, which is much better. Something else that you can rub on before you put this on, and this is why I've got some rubber gloves in here, some latex rubber gloves, is benzene tincture. So this is it's a resin extract. It's a balsam resin product made by certain trees, and you can rub this on the area you're going to put your tape, your physio tape first. That will also help it stick, and you can move it to then get it to stick, and it will then also add as a bit of an antibacterial sort of liquid on top of there as well. But use your gloves because it's going to stain your fingers. But I carry this with me as well to rub on then hot spots as well. Works really well. If you can stop, so I've stopped in the middle of a run, or I've just finished a run out in my training area. I've got my little sit mat out, sit on my Bergen, got my sit mat out to put my feet on. Take your boots off, take your socks off, let them air and let your feet air. There's nothing better than letting your feet air after a day out walking, or even out if you're camping out, to take your boots off at the end of the day and just let your feet air. It's great for your feet, just letting them air and get the moisture gone. A lot of people use talcum powder. I like to use talcum powder, and this only I would use when I'm settled down for the night, and I've taken my boots off, taken my damp socks off, just to get rid of all of that moisture on my feet, and then put a little bit of talcum powder on there, just the dusting on there, and brush it off as well straight away, otherwise that can get moist and clump up as well. So just don't use too much of this on there, but talcum powder is really good for then drying the feet out. And if you've got sort of bedtime socks, I normally take my socks off when I get into my sleeping bag in my hammock and just let my feet air. So I'm wearing boots all the time. It's, yeah, you're gonna get moist feet, and it's not good for your feet. You can get athlete's foot, and then that can turn in, get an infection in there, and it's not nice. Also, keep your toenails trimmed. So got a toenail clippers in here, and this, keep your toenails short, not too short, otherwise they can rub. Cut them straight across, don't cut around the nail, cut them straight across, because there's nothing worse than having your nail digging into your toe while you're running. I've had it before. So keep them nice and short, and it'll stop catching on your socks as well, putting holes in your socks or rubbing on your boots. Blisters. If you do get blisters, some people say leave them. I'm not medically advised, I'm not a doctor. Some people say leave them, some people say pop them. I would say if you are going to pop them, you need a sterile needle. So I've got a hypodermic needle in here, which is sterile. I would then take that out, carefully just pop a small hole in the blister, and then cover it up straight away with the benzoin tincture liquid, and then some physio tape or a plaster, or some fake skin, some Compeed. Some people like to leave it, some people cover it, but if you do pop it, you're going to need to cover it straight away so it doesn't get infected. But I've got that in there just in case I need it. So, as I say, a foot care kit is great to keep with you, same as your wash kit. Looking after your feet, as I say, is essential out here, because that's what's going to keep you moving. If your feet go down, you're going to go down, you're not going to be able to move. So looking after them is essential. Keep them dry, always air them out. Spare set of socks, always take your boots off when you can and air your feet, and keep a foot care kit in there, in your kit, and hopefully that will do your feet the world of good. If you use anything else, or think there's anything that you should have in your foot care kit that you use, let me know in the comments. It's all welcome. If you've watched any of my videos before, please do me a favour and subscribe to the channel. That will really help me out. Thanks for watching. As I say, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Cheers.